This is me, blissfully unaware of all the troubles that were about to befall me. So it happened that I was scrolling through YouTube the other day, and I found this keyboard that, well, really showed the creativity of the keyboard community. And it's just about the quirkiest keyboard I'd ever seen. To make this keyboard even stranger, it doesn't even come in a complete case. Instead, it gives you pieces which you somehow contrive to put together to form a coherent keyboard. It was a very, very unorthodox keyboard. I mean, who in their right mind would buy such a thing? I did. This is the Libra Mini, a 40% Alice Arisu style keyboard that basically destroyed all my remaining brain cells. Now, if I were to go in depth about all the different aspects of the keyboard, this video would probably be over an hour long, and I'd also lose the 40... Okay, let's face it, I have no idea how many brain cells I have left, but this would definitely drive my brain cells to the negatives. So I'm just going to focus on some key points, which are namely the structure of the keyboard, how it sounds, and how it basically destroyed every one of my neurons. So first off, the design of the keyboard, I must admit, is fantastic, but definitely not suited for someone of my IQ. The keyboard consists of three main parts, which are namely the top case, the bottom case, and the split PCBs. Each part of the keyboard is held together by screws and... I don't know what these are. Let's just call them connectors for now. So we got these screws and connectors which basically hold every single part of the keyboard together. The really interesting part comes when you realize that every single part of the Libra is basically sheets of acrylic that you screw together to form coherent parts of the keyboard. And so at first I had no idea how these parts were to come together to form a keyboard out of chaos, and I basically screwed around for a bit longer than I would have liked. In the end, I wasted about twice as much time as I wanted to build the keyboard, and this is also why the video has been taking so long to come out. So basically, the parts of the acrylic sheets were held together, as I said earlier, by screws and connectors. There was also a hex or nut thing sandwiched in between the acrylic pieces, which also allowed the board to be screwed in their turn. Now, I had no idea how these screws functioned, and I had no idea how the nuts came into practice here. So what happened was that I had finished the bits and pieces connecting the keyboard, the side slabs, the front slabs, and the keyboard feet, but I had no way to put them together. So, as you can see from this example, I am exceedingly smart. So with the case done, all I had to do was focus on the PCB. The Libra came with two main plates, the steel plate and the polycarbonate plate. I initially used the polycarbonate plate because I wanted a poppy, thocky sound signature, but this turned out to be, well, let's just say, my Achilles' heel. Because basically what happened was that the polycarbonate was so fragile that the act of putting the switch themselves in basically caused the acrylic to shatter into pieces. Now I don't have the acrylic shards with me right now, but I guess you can imagine glass breaking. That would be a very appropriate metaphor, I think. This left me with the steel plate, which actually turned out to be a blessing in disguise. It gave me a slightly deeper sound profile, while also giving me a clack profile. While I initially didn't like clack, I didn't prefer clack to thock, but this really made me change my view on clack. So with the PCB bit figured out, all I had to do was put everything together, and this was a bit complicated because the Libra featured a split PCB design, which meant that I had to put in two individual PCBs together. This initially didn't seem much of a challenge, until this happened. Oh. So, yes, modding keyboards can be hazardous to your health. But with this new injury, I had finally completed the build which had taken so long to make. Indeed, this took around a month and a half, which gave it the title of the 1000 hour keyboard. Now, I may be exaggerating here, but after all good stories deserve embellishment. And with the keyboard done, well, let's just reflect on the key issues and the bit I loved about this keyboard. The first bit that might put someone off would definitely be the fact that it took so long to make. Not only did I injure my thumb making it, but it also really ate up my sleep schedule. And it also ate up the time which I would like to have made videos. So I'm sorry about that, guys. And also thank you for bearing with me after all this time. But the bit I really loved about the keyboard was the build design and the aesthetic, because I'd never imagined a keyboard to be held together by pieces of acrylic, which are designed as skillfully and beautifully as they are in the Libra. I also really like the sound signature and the fact that, while having no arrow keys may be a daunting feature of a 40% keyboard, the Libra makes it up by using the joystick as arrow keys. Also, this is a bit of a flex though. I mean, does your keyboard have a joystick? I think not. Maybe you do. I don't know. So, with everything done, thank you for staying with me up until this point. If you enjoyed, please do leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I truly do appreciate it. With that being said, it's time for the sound test.